This is just AMZN. On Thursday, April 11th, 2019. Today we had a bunch of bounces off of 1841.30, and that's about all we did today. Really, each time it pulled back into that price, it bounced. Didn't quite get there, it bounced. This one, it got closer than these lows. Started to bounce, but then came back and almost bounced, or almost touched again, then bounced, and then actually touched and bounced. But we didn't have a candle totally below this line, just like yesterday. So pretty flat in the open. The open was kind of strange because, trying to zoom in here. Sorry, got stuck. It's still really stuck. There it goes. Okay. Thought I was going to have to restart it. Anyway, we had an open right here, sold off quickly and came rallying back up to have a bullish candle for the first 5 minutes, and then strong bearish inside candle. This is kind of looking like we had yesterday, where some bearish candles weren't, following through on the full range of the first candle, the prior candle. So similar to that, but some really large candles coming down. Large for the range we're trading today. Came down in here. Rallied, 25 minutes of rallying, then put in a near tweezer top here, just being one penny off. That started to roll over. I thought, okay, we're going to form this triangle like this and make a higher low here. That didn't happen. Came right here and just reversed. Continued higher, made a new high in the day. Let's see, we did not get a close above the open high. So, any of these candles in here, that was kind of a good indication that maybe we're not going higher. And so then, since we can't get a close above this, shouldn't have been triggering people in, but people were taking the breakout here. Not a new high, from the other day, but a new high on the day, intraday trading up here. So some people were trapped here. That pulled back, gave them a little bit of hope, and then rolled back down again. Small, very small inside indecision candle here. Immediately breaks down, turns into a hammer, and again, just not getting a close above, a key prior level. Not getting a close above this candle or this one, and then start to roll over. So this setup would have been great to be trading bearish, because you have some bearishness coming in. It's already broken down here. It's signaled up here. There's a few things to say, we shouldn't really go bullish right here. But had you gone bullish, maybe you wouldn't have been triggered in bearish if you had a trigger down here, waiting for it to actually get below maybe the lower wick here, something like that. So let's come back and look at 1025, 1025, 1030, seeing what you could have done on the 5 minute. See what option would work there and stuff. So that pulled back here. You could have been exiting, waiting for a target down here. We'll see what it should have been, maybe 2-3R to come down this far. And then it just chopped. It literally just chopped back up. You had a bearish candle, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, however long that was. So from here, from 11:15 all the way till noon. So 45 minutes of just alternating candles. It's like, wow, we're really going to battle this. And the bulls were a little stronger, because obviously it went up. Instead of going just sideways to down, then it would pretty evenly matched, went sideways, and it would have gone bearish had there been more bears. But in this case, it just went up. Interesting location that it threw this inverted hammer, came right up, and basically had a very similar high to the stair step here, 20 minutes of stair step here. You could have had the same trade setup, a breakdown here, and a stop up here, and that would have triggered you in on this candle, maybe this, probably this one. And the option would have, the option price would have changed. So you would have had some theta decay from this couple hours. So you would have had to actually change your entry and stop. But again, looking for this to roll back down, somebody could have been buying down on this hammer and held back up to this level and allow this level to really play out the way that it's set up here again. And that one, like I said, it came right back down relatively quickly, just like this one did. I think the bullish candle was in a different place. It was the second candle, and and here's the fourth candle. But really, you know, aside from that, you had, you know, 4 out of 5 bearish candles getting you down here, or I guess this was 4 to 5, this was 4 to 6 to get you down here. Then sideways. You got some indecision right off of this level, and then a bounce. This is a really nice, strong Marbozu. Let's see, the open and the low are the same, the high and the close are the same. Okay, it is a Marbozu, $2 Marbozu. Comes back down into a hammer, could have been buying this candle, looking for that to bounce off this line, and it just doesn't get going. Indecision here again, same indecision location as this one, and I guess kind of this one. So you had some of those candles at key levels. But again, all day long, we're just making some lower highs, a flat bottom. Can't get anything going bullish. Looked like right at the close, we're going to start to break out, and it just ran out of time for the day. So still didn't quite make a higher high intraday here. This is what I'm seeing here is we can't get back up into this high, at least not yet. This is just, you know, some consolidation here, some smaller range moves. Today was much smaller range, and then after hours we're starting to break down. We've had, you know, a day and a half really of holding this level. It's just a question of, can we get going bullish above it and keep moving? If we gap up there, I think it could go. I think it could do that. On the daily, you know, we've had some bearish candles and we've had some gaps up. You know, bearish candle, gap up. You know, we've done it once, twice, and no, what was it? No more. Oh, back over here. We did it here, and then we did it here, and we did it here. You know, so we've done it a bunch of times recently where we've gapped above a bearish candle and just, you know, continue to move up. So I see the potential for that to happen, getting a gap above probably 1850 or 1854, get above this high at 1853.09. Should probably, even though it's a bullish gap and go, it should probably pull back a little bit, give a little lower wick, something to pull back a little bit. I don't know if it's going to come back down to bounce off of 1841.30. I'd be a little concerned if it did, because that would be almost an engulfing candle at that point. But if it could hold a level above that, you know, again, back to the 5 minute, if you see, if you look at either getting a gap up above this triangle and it holds it bounce off of that triangle, or if we can gap up and just pull down into one of these highs in here, we really have a nice level set up with around 1850, just a nice round number, and then 1841.30. Not as much of a round number, but it's been a key level for a while. That's kind of been our channel up here. I mean, we broke down through it on Tuesday, and we're below it when we opened on Wednesday, but, you know, we've gotten back into it. And so I don't know obviously what's going to happen. If we can gap up, I think it could run, because a lot of people are loading up bearish to take this thing, ride this thing back down, and maybe it's just not ready to go. Looking at the time frame though, so this is the expiration for next week. I think it says the 19th, but the market's closed on the 19th. So next week's a holiday week, and I got this feeling that there's going to be some selling into the holiday, just because it's a long weekend and people may just want to take some profits, especially here in Amazon where it's been up so well. So I'm not saying tomorrow it's going to roll back down. I mean, we could really have another bullish push. I just be, again, cautiously bullish up here. I want to see a bigger pullback, but I mean, this has just been grinding higher, and it, you know, it's given some signals on certain days that it can just continue going higher. So let's step back into the day and look at this stair step here and what you could have done. So it triggered at 10:30. Let's look at the 10:25 and prior on the puts. So that was down here. 10:25 is this candle. So you could have done this setup 10 by 9. 10 by 9 off of this. I guess a little bit concerning because the low here was right at 9. 10 by 9 would have worked. Would have worked up to 12. Yeah, that's about it. So that would have been 2R right there to do that trade. Clearing this pivot. Yeah, so that's, you know, this breaking down, getting in at, you know, at 10 by 9, it's already moving. It's below the 21, below the 5. You know, there, it's clearly breaking some support up here. This could be somewhat of a head and shoulders, some obscure, um, or lopsided size. I mean, this is a little bit more of a head and or, I'm sorry, not head and shoulders, a double top here. I'm saying the wrong one. Sorry, double top like this with a flat second hump. Um, so that probably would have been one of the better trades, taking that bearish or bracket trading, getting ready to go bullish. And then this one would have been the other one. So this is at 12.15. Look at the puts, 12.15. Nice candle here. This one, yeah, 950 by 850. You're enclosing that range. And that would have ran back up to 12 again. So basically 10 by 9 up to 12, 10 by 9 up to 12. Both of those would have worked on the puts. But you don't really have a monster growth on this. Even the open, it didn't quite come down to 10, but it went all the way up to 13. I mean, that's good. And then a few minutes later, it was into 14 after a little more of a pullback. So you could have been getting in here like 11 by 10 up to 13 or 14 could have worked here. But that's a aggressive setup right out the gate. But I think seeing this candle and knowing that we've been really range bound in the last couple of days, I don't think that's a really strong candle to take, or I don't think it's the appropriate candle to have now to take this thing strongly bullish right out the gate. It's more of a we might chop around some more, and that's just exactly what happened. If we look at some of these places to buy off this level, let's again look at the 1850 calls. Nice round number, $6. You could have gone 6 up to 8, but it hovered around half an hour up. Doing 6 by 5, it was hovering around 650 for a little bit. And so that's probably, if you're watching it, you probably move your stop here, on this candle, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to move my stop right here because it's made these in a row. And then you get this one, it's like, oh no, I'm about to get stopped out. And then it goes. And it's like, looking back, it's like, I probably shouldn't have moved my stop yet, So knowing when to move your stop, knowing the appropriate locations, is going to keep these trades longer, because you could have moved up here, or you could just exit to just lock in a little bit of a gain. And it's like, well, you risk that R, so let it give it some time to work, and just know for how the stock is moving, what you got to do to get out at the right time. Taking a small profit, taking a small loss, that's just part of staying in the game. So just take some practice to do. So other times to buy calls, 5 by 4, that only went up to 6. The calls just weren't, this is the 1850, so it's out of the money, but they just weren't getting the return. Maybe you go up an R, maybe you're waiting for someone to break out a little bit. It's like, okay, I'll get in 550 by 450. They have $100. Or maybe 550 by 5. And again, it still only gets up to get 2. I'm sorry. And that only goes up to 6. You're up an R, great. But then all of a sudden it starts to roll over. And immediately in the very next round of the candle, that pullback has turned into a break even or a loss. You get a little bit of bounce. It's like, okay, I'm still in this, but if you don't exit right here for a small gain, tiny gain, then you're back losing money and you get stopped out. And it's just like, okay, sometimes that's a battle, just grabbing an R off something or grabbing half an R off something. And it's something I'm not great at doing. I sometimes I'm not even watching the trade, or I set it up to not move my stop, and so I'm not playing a defense to be watching it and move the stop at the right time, so that I'll get stopped out for a smaller loss, than the full R. Or it's like you're just watching it move up a little bit, and you're looking for something to really just start to run, and it's just not running, and then you get that pullback like this, and it wipes out whatever gain you just had on that thing. So that's in here. If you're getting in too late, if you're one of these bulls getting in too late, it's like, just take some profit up at a resistance here, lock something in, move your stop up so you're not going to lose, hopefully not lose, or lose very small, because that kind of candle is going to kill the options, the calls. Just like a move like this is going to lose something on the puts, then it goes sideways, and it's like, okay, which way is it going to go? Are the puts is it going to go down and the puts are the right direction, or is it going to, it's a little more indecisive right here. because it's starting to bounce. But you don't know that it's bouncing until it's really showing you some sideways candles and that it's getting above these key levels, like above the 5 and back into it, but it didn't get a close below it. And then we're back up above the 21 and pull back to the 5 and get above the 20. It's like if you wait till all this and you're getting in here and a stop down here or down here, I mean, you only moved up maybe a quarter of an hour to lock something in. That's not the right risk reward to take that trade. You can't just keep waiting. You got to be buying at these key levels and getting in on something that's a stair step, kind of anticipating, okay, it's going to go this way and I'll lose an hour if it doesn't, or I won't be triggered in. Set up your trades so that you're not triggered in on the opposing move, that helps protect you. So, again, lower highs all day, relative lows, kind of looking for something to start moving. Doesn't have to do it bearish, doesn't have to do it bullish, doesn't have to do it tomorrow. We could channel somewhere in here, but if we don't get out of this by the end of next week, I mean, something even bigger is going to be happening. So I kind of anticipate, things starting to move tomorrow or, Monday, maybe I'll say Tuesday at the latest, but kind of anticipate some things moving a little bit getting into the holiday week. So, some small moves could have made something on Amazon. We're a little harder to trade today with where we're at, but there's some opportunities out there. It just takes some practice to snag some of those opportunities. So, hope this helps, and I'll be back tomorrow with another view, see what's happened. All right, this is just Amazon. Thanks.